right. Okay. Thanks. It's in my. Sorry guys, my Zoom box is right in the middle of my start slide thing. Where do I go and start my slideshow again? Been so long. Oh, right here. There we go. Jeez. Okay, perfect. So we're here for the labor market information session. I'm just going to introduce all of our student support network has started or has decided to do this meeting today. We do different transition programs for all levels of education. So today we're getting our secondary students prepared for post-secondary or the workforce. So our student support network at the post-secondary level, who's going to be working with the students next week on the career action plans, is Lorianne Linklater and Lorna Sinnebert. They're not here today. For the secondary level, we have myself at the Adult Ed Center, and Josephine Toulouse is our secondary student support worker, and she is here as well in the classroom with us. And then we have in the workforce is Andrea Hyde Jacobs, skills and employment trading with ISETS as the coordinator. Okay, there we go. So for the agenda, we're just going to do a brief introduction, which we've already done. Josephine and myself are going to go into LMI resources, and then we'll have Jeff Moulton talking about human resources. He's a human resource manager for Sagamok, and he's going to discuss different jobs within Sagamok that are going to be available. At 5:45, we have Arnelda Bennett with Sagamok Economic Development, and she's going to be discussing the leakage study and entrepreneurship in the community and looking at different businesses that might be in demand in the coming years. And Megan Lawrence is here with us with HR for Valet, and Andrea again with ISETS here in Sagamok. So what is labor market information? Labor market is the marketplace where you sell your skills and employers recruit you for those skills. So it's a supply and demand sort of relationship. So it's really important for students to think about the fields that are going to be in demand in the coming years to make sure that they select careers where they're going to have jobs, and they really have to think about whether they're willing to move and relocate to bigger cities to find jobs in the fields that they're after. So this is a little bit of research to help our students make sure they're going into the career that's best for them. So to all our students that are here today, I've sent you guys a copy of the career action plan. This is something that Lorna and Lorianne are going to talk about next week, next Tuesday's session. But part of that career action plan is a job search. And what we're doing here today, the resources that we're going to be providing will give you an opportunity to fill in some of this career action plan. So going back to the slideshow. 3 of the resources that I wanted to share with you guys today. The first one is jobbank.gc.ca. And again, this PowerPoint was also sent to you guys, to the students, and you'll be able to access them from there. So the first one is jobbank.ca. How do do I just minimize this part? Just bear with me 1 second. All right. So when you go to jobbank.ca, basically this is a Canada-wide job search site, as well as it's a market research site that allows you to look at trends within the field that you want to go into, as well as allow you to search things such as wages, prospects of the job, and the brief description of the occupation. So welcome, Amber. So I'm just going through some of the resources that you will be able to use to do your career action plan, as well as search your own field that you might be interested in going into. So jobbank.ca, I'm just going to do a quick search for the occupation of nursing. And, oh, let me go back here. And I'm going to search Sudbury, Ontario, just to give you guys an idea of what you're going to see if you do that search. So there is 12 jobs in the nursing field. You can see that some of them are for RPN programs as well as RN programs. So university as well as college nursing programs that you would go into. So if you click on one of the jobs posted, you'll see that on the right there is the job market research here. Basically where that's going to take you is the category of RPNs, and you will from there be able to kind of look at a summary of the jobs, as well as, so it'll give you a quick description of the job, which you'll use for the career action plan. You'll have the prospect of the job, 3 different jobs that are available and where, as well as the requirements for education and your wages. And then the brief description of the skills that you will need in that job. So it's kind of a starting point to research a career that you want to go into. Going back to the main page, we saw that there was 12 jobs for nurses in Sudbury. So another one I'm just going to look into is maybe Keith, what's a job that you might potentially want to go into?
Teaching.
Into teaching. So let's go and put in, okay. So we'll put in college teacher. We'll see what shows up. Or it would be a professor, but let's see what comes up. So college level English teacher. Obviously, so these jobs here don't really have a location of where they're at. So I guess they could be online. I'm not sure. You have to look further into them. But on that, let's just look into that occupation specifically. So another way that you could search, other than doing just the search through the job search category, because that's just going to give you the job search, you could search by occupation. So college teacher. So that little number beside it, that's called a NOC code. So any job that's within Canada is going to have a specific number associated with it, and that's its NOC number, National Occupation Classification, I think it stands for. So that number will be consistent throughout Canada when you do a little bit of research on that job. So let's look at college teacher and see what comes up. So it's saying the prospect is good. There's 4 jobs advertised. Those are the ones we saw, but this is only in Sudbury. We could widen that search to a bigger area if we wanted to. So again, it's got your requirements, schooling, your wages, all the stuff that you would need to fill out for your career action plan on there. Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
I can't really ask. If anybody has any questions, you could ask them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them for you. So let's move on to the second resource. This was jobbank.gc.ca. The other one is an Ontario website. I'm just going to go back here. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so this is when you follow that link that was provided in the presentation in the PowerPoint, when you put that link in, you will get to this screen here. And I'm just going to close this. There we go. I don't want anything in there. Okay, so you're going to get to this screen here. Basically, these are the occupations within Ontario. The good thing about this site, you could search it up by income. You could also search it by growth rate. So obviously, if your growth rate is higher, that's going to mean that that job has room for potentially you getting hired within that field. This total openings number is very important because some jobs will have a high growth rate, but still a very low opening rate, meaning there might only be 10, 15, 20 jobs in certain fields. So most of these are actually higher, but I know some specific programs will only have a small number of openings within that field. So this kind of gives you a general overview of, first of all, your income and the growth rate of that job and how many openings are going to be in that job in Ontario. So for this one, again, let's just do a search for lab medical technician or medical lab tech.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
About when it says job outlook, why isn't there like different variations of like high on that one you're just
okay, so let's go back one.
Like no, not that one. There's like that one that you just brought down, the job outlook one.
Okay. Let me close that.
The cursor was just on right. It's the fourth one.
Right here.
Yeah. And so it says undetermined, below average. So like, what does that mean? Above average.
So that's just, I'll show you right now, actually. We'll go into medical lab tech and I'll show you that one in more detail. So again, that keeps coming up. So this is your job outlook. Okay. So it's just, the higher it is, if it's above average, it's going to mean that there's more openings in Ontario in that job. If it's below average,
there's like
lower chances of you getting hired, but obviously there's still going to be jobs in that field. So it's going to be just a little bit more competitive to find a job. And then fair, I think that's the middle one, is fair. It's just going to be somewhere in the middle.
Average.
Yeah. And you could do further research. Like if you look here at this job, annually in 2015, 16, 17, and 18, there was about 260 to 280 jobs. If we look at 2019, that number jumped to 340. So that's
so it's like the need for them.
Yes, exactly. This is how many jobs have been posted for this specific field in Ontario.
Oh.
So yeah, it's kind of a good starting point to see, okay, if I go into a college teacher, for example, and we could do that one real fast. I still have about 5 minutes. So let's check that one out and look at Ontario for that job.
It might be worth noting as well that, like, I'm not sure when those ratings were set, but you can see that big jump in 2019 for medical lab techs. So sometimes it's hard for labor market analysts to predict when things will explode. So we certainly didn't predict that COVID was going to hit the world. And you can see in 2019 the demand for medical lab technicians. Those are the people who are analyzing COVID tests, right? So it's definitely not something that would have been projected, but you can see the huge demand change. So sometimes there's things that can't be projected that just happen, and you got to be ready to take advantage of those opportunities.
Thank you, Andrew. So let's take a look at college and other vocational instructors. That's kind of the field that you wanted to go into, right? So it's above average 2017 to 2021. It tells you your medium income, your top location. So 50% of the jobs are within Toronto. And then again, you're above average for that one. And let's look at the numbers that see, like there was about 650 over the last couple of years. Look at 2018, it jumped to 800, and in 2019 to over 1,000. So that's a field, Keith, that is definitely worth pursuing. If you're serious about it, this is the stats to kind of show you that, yeah, this is awesome. And it's definitely something that's achievable for me. So I think that's all I'd like to say on that point. I don't think I'm missing anything. Oh, there was one more, sorry, one more site. I still have 2-3 minutes here. If you go to this last one that was provided, it allows you to explore careers based on category. So if you wanted to, you could look at construction and different occupations within that field, as well as a quick overview of the job, what you need in terms of education, and your annual salary within that job. So it kind of lets you look at different jobs and gives you an idea of what you could potentially go into within construction and healthcare, engineering, and all these other fields. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing from there. And so next we have, next we have Jeff Moulton with Human Resources here in Sagamok, and he's going to give you guys a brief overview of some of the jobs available within the community. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark. Thanks for the invitation for this. This fits timely. The new, so yeah, my name is Jeff Moulton. I'm the Director of Human Resources and Shared Services. So my portfolio at work, I have the IT department, communications, economic development, HR, and payroll. So with the past election and new chief and council, we are working on updating our human resource strategy. So in that is going to include recruitment and selection of Sagamok members to the positions that we're looking for in Sagamok. So some of I had reached out to Josephine and Becky at Bedobbin, just so I could participate in events like this. So I'm glad you shared this, Mark. Yeah, just to try to get the community and students thinking about what they want to do, what they would be interested in going into, especially if they want to come back home when they're finished their post-secondary education. So we're also working, and I know Andrea is going to talk about that. I know we have Valet on the line. So we're also working on just trying to create a database of members in Sagamok, current qualifications, education, experience that they have. So when we are looking for different positions, we have this database to go to. So Andrea's department's in the process now of searching some different database platforms that could house that information, and so that would be there. Then we're looking for construction workers for some a project. We can see who's out there with that experience, and So when we post positions in Sagamok, the goal, it's actually noted right on the postings that preference is given to people of Aboriginal descent. So preference is given to members of Sagamok first. It's actually in our hiring policy. Then if you've got those applicants in your pool that have applied for a position, we're looking for Sagamok members first. Then someone that would be of Aboriginal descent, but maybe not a member of Sagamok, and then outside of the community to secure that. So for myself, I know the position had been posted 2 to 3 times with no applicants. So then I was given consideration, and I feel fortunate to be in Sagamok. So some of the positions today that and from my daily experience that we have trouble filling. So, and I know positions into the future. So any kind of position in the mental health field. So whether that is, social work, whether it's at the college level or university with a Bachelor of Social Work, there is that need. We struggle to fill the different positions that we have that fall under community wellness with those requirements of some kind of mental health, degree or diploma. Addictions counselors, we've struggled to hire. We have 4 now, but we have struggled to find people that have the qualifications and experience, as an addictions counselor. And just we see the growth in that area. So it's at the chief and council table, and is discussion on a treatment center, residential treatment center for substance abuse. Yeah, I'm not going to say if, I can say when that comes to fruition, there's going to be obviously a need then for more addictions counselors, some mental health support, the whole gamut of positions that come along with running a treatment center. Another position that we have trouble filling is a heavy equipment operator. So with that comes, different licenses to operate the different types of machinery. So that would be in Sagamok, would be for our roads department. So operating, of course, the graders and dump trucks. It becomes more of a burden in the winter, especially a winter maybe like last winter when there was a lot of snow. There was a small handful of people that could drive and operate the snow plow and were qualified. But that becomes so important, right? To be able to clear the roads with so much snow, they were working long extended hours. And so I know we do struggle to get people, especially Sagamok members with the qualifications and education for that position. The other one that we've had a difficult time with is the native language teachers, or language speakers. So we do have some community members right now that are working with Bedobbin as language speakers. And in saying that, the other is a position, we haven't struggled to fill them, but to fill with Sagamok members would be the actual teachers at Bedobbin. So nothing against you, Mark, but just it would be nice to see people, Sagamok members, educated and returning, and wanting to teach at Bedobbin. And in saying that, also at Bedobbin is the educational assistants. So the EAs that work with the teachers in the classroom. This year, I've been 2.5 years with Sagamok in this role, and each of those summers we've struggled to find an appropriate number of educational assistants, especially from the community. There's a handful this year that are not from Sagamok, live nearby. We have some EAs, I believe, coming in from Massey this year, and some from Sagamok. But we always struggle with that as well. So the other position would be the early childhood educators. So those are the people working at the daycare. It's always we always struggle filling those as well. Generally, I mean, they're full, but if someone leaves or someone goes off sick, there is not a pool of people out there to to employ, bring in an employee at the daycare. So those are I've listed off I think 6 already that we struggle. The other one that we struggle with, it's going to be a need into the future. So I'm sure everybody, is always talked about the baby boomers. We've got this group of people that are, they're into their early to mid 60s. People are working a little bit longer, but this group of people is looking at, possible retirement. They're a huge percentage of the population, a working population right now. So which we see the effects in different organizations, but when they start to retire, it's such large numbers that it's leaving, great vacancies. So one of the positions would be the personal support workers that are work at the Eagles Lodge and then work in the community in members' homes, doing some light housekeeping and food prep and medical care for clients within their scope. And maybe I'll just leave it with Andrea. I know there is a PSW course, and I want to say it's an expedited course, probably because of the need because of COVID. So there'd be the need for PSWs, not saying COVID in Sagamok, but just around the whole province and country. So there's been a need for personal support workers. So that's a program if somebody's interested in healthcare, working at the lodge in Sagamok, or like I said, into the community. The other and the last is I just kind of categorized all these together. So like general laborers. So if you're looking for, like, we have general maintenance workers that work in all the buildings with Sagamok. I did that. I kind of put together or included the custodians, especially right now during COVID. We've increased the custodian or housekeeping staff at all of the buildings, especially school and daycare, to do regular cleaning and disinfecting. And we're really struggling to get people. If you get somebody that may be off sick, people need to take vacation. We just don't have the staff to back up. So those are positions that maybe the training or education requirements might be a little bit less than something else, but still just as important as any position. So just the session tonight was just kind of timely because we're working on our human resource strategy, how we're moving forward in the future, succession planning. So at the senior management level with chief and council, we're looking at having succession planning. So looking at identifying the positions that are let's say vital, if someone was to leave the position, retire or quit. So how are we going to what are our plans to replace those positions? So that's kind of the big project we're working on right now. So I don't know if there's any questions from anybody or.
Question for you. Is
Yep.
there a need for electricians and plumbers within our community of Sagamok?
Yeah, I would say so. Like not that we have. So what we have right now, we categorize them in our general maintenance workers, but we do have, and I know of one. There's probably more than one, but there is one that is the heating, ventilation, air conditioning. So HVAC technician. He's categorized as general maintenance worker, so he does a lot of things, but he will look after a lot of the heating and cooling and ventilation systems. So if there was somebody that I could see that happening because we contract out now to maybe Ernie's Plumbing or the I can't think of the electrician that we use out of Blind River all the time. Len, yeah. So if there was somebody in the community and had that education was coming back, I mean, truly from a cost perspective, with the money that's spent out on these contractors, maybe having somebody on staff that had those qualifications would be amazing, because there's a huge number of Sagamok buildings, right? When you look around the whole community, not just the housing or the houses that Sagamok owns and rents out, but buildings, schools, the band office, the Millennium Center, all those buildings that are probably always requiring electrical work or plumbing and heating. So yeah.
So Jeff, just so you know, there is a HVAC newly certified person that is looking for.
Okay.
He just got all of his certifications and he's having a hard time finding an employer.
Okay, Arnell, if you don't mind, Arnell, shoot me an email with the name.
Yeah,
we'll,
I even have
yeah.
his resume, I even have his resume and stuff because
Okay, perfect. No,
we
that's
sent,
great.
yeah, we sent it off to Ernie's Plumbing.
Oh, okay. Oh, excellent. No, that's good. No, that's good to know. And again, that could lead, I know I don't want to cut into, I think what you're probably going to talk about, Arnelda, but, to look at the other businesses that are in Sagamok. I know we have some, construction contract companies. Ken Toulouse is the first one that comes to my mind, that there's a need there. So whether it's working for Sagamok or you're working, in your community, but with another business in the community. So all those trades. And there is, I know Mark's probably talked to you guys about it, is I know Anna Marie's mentioned it, and Andrew's probably involved too, the not tools of the trade, sorry, the trade trailer. I know there's education coming in. I don't know what trade it is, but, maybe they'll speak a little bit about that as well. So,
Keith just had a quick question for you, Jeff.
sure.
I was wondering if there was any more different types of job positions that would come from the new mask making facility that's going to be what the Millennium Center is being turned into.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been involved, well, just a little. So it's owned, like it's something completely separate from, I keep saying Sagamok, in my mind thinking of like say Sagamok, the corporation or the employer, not the community. So this business is, it's actually Matt Owl that is up at Ritchie Falls Resort. So it's Matt has partnered with Dentex, it's called. There's a company that makes this PPE and created this partnership where they're going to have the manufacturing in Sagamok. So I know they are looking. I know Andrea's received resumes and we're sharing them with Matt. I haven't been that involved just because it's separate from, Sagamok or my role. We're trying to assist Matt though in whatever way we can. So there's definitely a need for positions there, and if it grows bigger, or I think there is a plan to look at other communities, First Nation communities, along the North Shore, including Manitoulin, of possibly having other manufacturing plants in those communities. So there's definitely that need. Yeah.
My question was more towards like positions that beyond just when it's finished, like beyond just like being there to watch over the assembly, that as time progressed, like in a year or so, what kind of positions do you think would be offered because of this COVID situation?
Okay. Yeah, I'd have to touch base with Matt and see what their plan is or what that looks like. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like I said, I'm a bit removed from it just because it's not directly involved with Sagamok's employment. So,
okay.
And I'll let maybe Andrea and Arnelda know a bit more, could speak about that. But I can definitely get some information from Matt Owl and share it with Mark, and he can share it with you guys.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So Jeff, is there anything else or any other questions for Jeff? Okay. Well, thanks very much for
No problem.
and
Thanks a lot, Mark.
really appreciate it.
No
So
problem. If you're all right, Mark, I'm going to sign off. There's some stuff. There's a chief and council meeting.
absolutely.
happening. I'm just going to prepare a few things to send off to Tammy that they need by the end of the meeting. So,
Oh, absolutely.
so thanks a lot, everybody. That's excellent.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.
So next we're gonna have next we're gonna have Arnelda with Sagamok Economic Development, and she's gonna be talking about Sagamok's leakage study, I believe. So I'll let Arnelda get into it. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Could you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your
Yeah.
screen.
Okay. Okay, so the Economic Development Program is part of HR and Shared Services, as Jeff had mentioned earlier. Oh. Hey, how come am I? Sorry, but I'm not, it's not moving to the next screen for me. Okay, can you guys see that now? Did it change? Okay. Okay, so who works in ECDev? Right now, it's just me. These are some of the programs that we have in economic development. One is the Small Business Grant Program, where you can access up to $10,000. We do have the Tools of the Trade Program, where you can get up to $1,000 for smaller businesses. We do have the Youth Summer Grant Program for students who are going back to school or who have after-school businesses. So you can access up to $500 on that program. The Self-Employment Assistance Program is a program delivered through Andrea's program. So the Small Business Grant Program is a equity matching grant program, and it's usually around 5% of your total project costs, up to $10,000, and it's available once every 5 years. And the business must be owned and operated full-time by SAGWOC members.
So your slides aren't moving anymore though, Ornella.
Oh, they're not?
No.
Try to go up to slideshow and actually start the slideshow.
It's showing on my end.
So you see the tab at the top where it says home? You're on home right now?
You're on, yep. 249,000. And then we're contributing the balance. So you can see on the little picture on the bottom, the fiber is being brought by the hydro poles and then brought into the home. So that brings a lot of technology-based businesses that can come into the community. That includes smartphone repairs, IT equipment service, IT equipment sales, so computers, monitors, a cafe, a technology consultant, remote IT services, digital marketing, web design service. That's one thing that we need here in the community. Software development service, apps development, computer training is going to be one big one. And then smartphone accessories, and then many more other businesses that could be developed as a result of bringing in improved technology in the community. So you could see some of the Hydro One trucks right now are working from the River Road area coming up to the school. The school is going to be the very first business to be connected. So they're upgrading the poles right now. They're going to start laying the fiber in January. And people will be able to connect. Once your street is done, you can call into Bell and get your house connected. And the whole community, well, sorry, not the whole community, but 95% of the community will be able to connect by next summer. One of the other big initiatives that we're working on is the grocery store. So the grocery store, we've accessed some funding to do the feasibility study. We've sent out the RFP and we've selected the consultant. So the consultant started as of last week. And this is to develop a grocery general store, which includes a lot of other items in it, including grocery. We're hoping the consultant's going to look at all these other businesses, including a bank, ATM, possible Canada Post, Purelator, UPS, a gift shop, a deli, maybe clothing, maybe technology, produce, and a pharmacy, possible pharmacy. Once the feasibility study is done, it will be presented to the community. And if it's proven to be feasible, then we're going to be proceeding with the actual business plan. So Ideally, and for you to succeed, your perfect business idea should consist of three things. It has to be something you like doing. It should be something that you're good at, and it should be something that is in demand, something that people are going to be willing to pay money for. Other services that we provide in economic development is training. So we do provide business workshops, some business training. We do assistance to funders, so I'll help you with the actual business plans and the sending those to the funders throughout the province. And we do have business plan templates here in the office. Some of the workshops that we have done: Service Canada, starting a business, youth entrepreneurship, and a summer student workshop. These are workshops we have done in the past, and one was called Sagmuk Makerspace. This is an idea that we received from a Sagmuk member, and he wants to actually bring in a gathering space for youth to be able to come in and learn how to use high-tech tools and to turn that knowledge into a possible business. We did run the digital program last summer. We had 29 youth that participated in the program, and it was a 4-week-long program looking into Sagmuk's history and culture. And overall, 85% of the students that applied and joined completed and graduated from the program. And 90% of the students shared that they know more about their community and its history now versus before the program. Other workshops and training is coding, and then youth tech entrepreneurship program. Now I'm going to touch quickly on the household leakage study. So the household leakage study is an economic leakage study that will assist in reversing the current trend of outflow of spending into neighboring towns. So this study identified specific business opportunities for Sagmuk that would bring new business, jobs, and wealth back into the community. This is the total leakage this was a study that was done in 2010. So at that time, 73% of every dollar in the community was spent outside of the community, and only 27% was spent in the community. And that pie chart shows like our biggest spending is done in Espanola at 27%, Sudbury 11%, Massey at 12%, and then other is 19%. This is where we're spending money in the community, or sorry, this is annual spending in Sagmuk. 21% is spent on groceries. The next biggest line item is utilities. Housing 10%, then utilities 8%, gasoline is 7%, and clothing is 6%. So you can see what the opportunities are. Like the biggest opportunity here is the grocery, and possible opportunities in utilities, restaurant and fast food. That's 4% of the money that's spent. Insurance is 4%. Home improvement 3%. Even home heating oil is 3%. Future initiatives that we're working on in economic development is the grocery store, a new bingo hall, new administration offices, procurement opportunities, Ritchie Falls Resort and Moosewa, Totten Mine backfill ore haul project, opportunities for contracts at Valet, and then the fiber to the home. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Well, thank you very much, Arnelda. That was great. I know Keith was pretty excited about the fiber op to the home. That's great. So
Because actually, I had been like talking about this on fiber optics, faster internet. I didn't even know that. Like, I didn't even know that's what the whole like why they're setting all those hydro poles and that. I think that's a really good step for Saginaw for sure.
yeah, definitely a great step for Sagmuk, and hopefully it brings in more economic opportunities. So no questions.
I got a question.
Oh,
Hey, Arnella, I got a question for you.
Yep.
That leakage study was done in 2010. Are you looking to do another updated one in terms of that?
Yes, we did do a survey. We had planned on doing this every 5 years. So the first leakage study that was done in Sagmuk was 2005. At that time, the leakage was 73%, and that was done by Wabatech at the time. In
Okay.
2010, we did it. And those are the stats that you're seeing now. But we also did the study in 2015. We've had problems getting the report for that one. I'm anticipating that we're going to get it. We've done, I guess, some emails to get some of our data for that one.
Okay.
But we did do one in 2015, and our plan was to do it every 5 years. And as we were supposed to do it again this year, and because of COVID, we couldn't go from house to house to do the survey.
Okay.
okay. Well, thanks, Arnelda.
No problem.
So next we have Megan Lawrence. She's the human resource person from Valet, joining us today.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
This is my, it's going to be one of my first times using Zoom here to share my screen. So hopefully it works.
We'll let you know how it goes.
Thank you.
We'll tell
So
you.
far, so good, or what?
You're on the PowerPoint.
Excellent, excellent. So thanks everybody for being here with us tonight and for inviting me to this session. I'm very excited to be able to share some information here because this will be the second time I present to Sagamok students around the opportunities that exist at Valet, and it's a very exciting time, I think, for the mining sector in general here in Sudbury, but especially for Valet. And so part of our culture here at Valet is obsession with safety and ensuring that we're always thinking about safety in everything that we do. And it is a standard practice for us during meetings to have some safety shares and safety related tips before we start meetings. And so even though it's not a typical Valet meeting, I still wanted to include this as part of our part of the content here. So safety share can be anything in relation to physical safety and mental health and mental well-being. And so the share really is about prioritizing our mental health. And, we're living in unprecedented times, and it's very easy for mental health to suffer, especially with the pandemic and all the restrictions. I know personally, I love working directly with people, and I build relationships by working with people. So it is very hard to do to achieve some of those things through virtual settings. So it's important to remember that the physical distancing does not mean emotional isolation, and having friends is part of a healthy life as well. So remember to stay close to family and friends, be kind to those around you. And if you're struggling with anything, don't be shy to talk to those around you. And if you see somebody struggling, help them, because those who have friends live a healthier, less stressful and longer life. And those relationships contribute to both our mental and overall health. So the content of today's presentation is about sharing who Valet is and what kind of opportunities exists for you here. So I have a little video I'll start with, and then we'll get into mining and what mining contributes to in our day-to-day life. I'll show you some photos of our operations, not only in Sudbury, but across our North Atlantic, and I'll explain that as I get there. And you know, this is a session for students, for youth, looking at what's next for me. And I'm going to present you with opportunities that we currently have and we foresee needing in large amounts and for an extended period into the future. So I am going to stop share and then share my screen again to get to this video. Okay. Okay, we're going to try this.
Our world is constantly evolving, from the Stone Age to the Iron Age, the Age of Enlightenment to the Age of Discovery, the Industrial Revolution to the Digital Revolution. This evolution of society is fueled by the Earth itself. The very basic ingredients that make change possible are found within the Earth's core: nickel, copper, and cobalt. These base metals enable us to be the urban, high-tech, and green society we are today. They build our urban infrastructure. They electrify our vehicles and renew our energy. They clean our air and advance our medicine. At Valley, we produce the base metals that drive our world forward. We are one of the largest nickel producers in the world. We have a dedicated team of high-performing people who produce the highest quality nickel on Earth, from the highest quality reserves, using the highest quality processing. We're also an important producer of copper and a leading producer of responsibly sourced cobalt, mined safely across our global operations. We are transforming our business so the world can transform too. We're lowering our costs so we can invest in projects that secure our ability to supply basic ingredients for years to come. We're bringing new products to market to meet changing customer demand. And we're adopting new digital technologies to be more efficient within a safer operating environment. We are all writing the story of our collective future, and we want to be part of creating a cleaner, greener tomorrow. We see a future where we take climate action, action that will make our children proud and give them confidence in what tomorrow will bring. A future where we mine like it matters to this remarkable planet, because it does. Let's make it happen.
Okay. Everybody can see my screen again. Perfect. So who is Vale? We are a global mining company. We operate in multiple countries all over the world. And our mission is to transform natural resources into prosperity and sustainable development. Vision is to be the #1 global natural resource company in creating long-term value through excellence, passion for people and the planet. And, you know, our core values around life matters most, value our planet, prize our planet, do what is right and improve together is something that, you know, we keep at the forefront every day in everything that we do. And, you know, this is our what, and then we apply some of our core and critical behaviors. And I'll get into that a little bit later, because as we look at trying to attract and engage people into our industry and employing them, we're focusing on people who are aligned with our values and our core behaviors. So this is the next few slides are interesting in that you know, everything that we do in the mining sector connects back into our day-to-day life. So mining is essential. Materials and products we deliver play a critical role in keeping us and the rest of the world healthy, safe, and connected. So the impact from a medical and a healthcare sector perspective, when you're working in the mining sector, this is what you're contributing to. A variety of metals, including nickel, are used to make lithium ion rechargeable batteries that power portable ventilators. So if you're thinking about the mining contributions during these times of the pandemic and the and COVID, what we are extracting from the earth is contributing to being able to power portable ventilators. Nickel is an essential material used in a wide variety of medical instruments as well. Copper is another critical material that is used in settings as bed rails, door handles, IV poles, and so on. Gold, critical component in diagnostic COVID-19 test kits. These are things that, you know, even myself working in the sector, I'd never even realized the level in which the mining sector contributes in the healthcare sector. Silver used in hospital fabrics and devices, leveraging its antimicrobial properties to reduce bacterial contamination and prevent cross-infection. Platinum group metals, so these are our precious metals that we extract from various locations of our mine sites. Have a high biological compatibility and are used to make key components for essential medical devices like implantable defibrillators, pacemakers, and other medical implants. So this is just to give you an idea really of when you're joining a company like Vale or joining the mining sector, you're contributing to the whole in our system, in our economy, in our world. From an essential life needs perspective, so nickel is contained in stainless steel plays. It's contained in stainless steel, and it plays a vital role in food safety at every link in the food chain. So simply just a refrigerator, for example. Copper is a natural antimicrobial important in the storage and transportation of water. Platinum group metals, again, our precious metal groups, help desalinate water for use to drink. Silver is used to help purify water and control bacteria growth. Minerals and metals are used to help build and maintain our homes, chosen for their durability, strength, and resistance to weather. When we look at technology, nickel is found in our mobile phones, in our laptops, as well as the rechargeable batteries, as I mentioned earlier, that we use for electronics, vehicles, emergency power. Copper is found in hydro transformers, wiring, keeping electricity in our homes and in our workplaces. Gold, again, is found in durable electrical conductors, essential for computer electronics, satellite communication. And silver is found in virtually every electronic device. So that gives you a little bit of perspective on the impact that you have if you choose a career in mining. It's more than just mining. You're contributing to the whole. So touring our operations, this photo here, as I said, we are a global company. We operate in Brazil, we operate in Mozambique, in the UK. I represent Vale from a North Atlantic base metals perspective. And what that means is I represent and I support our Sudbury location, as well as our Voisey's Bay, our Long Harbor location, Manitoba. I support North Atlantic also includes the UK and Japan, but I primarily focus on Sudbury, Long Harbor, Voisey's Bay, and Manitoba. And so the opportunities exist, and the opportunities that I'm going to talk about are yes, focused in Sudbury, but if you have interest in expanding and exploring more of Canada, those opportunities exist for you here as well. So our Ontario operations in Sudbury, we have 100 years in operation in terms of mining. We have 6 mines, a mill, a smelter, and a refinery. So here's a photo of Garson Mine. We have Creighton Mine here in Lively, Totten Mine, which I hope everybody's quite familiar with, which is out in Sagamok territory. We have Coppercliff Mine North and Coppercliff Mine South side that is reopening. We have upcoming projects in Skeed area, which is known as Victor Mine. Our mill here again is local in Coppercliff. We have the smelter in Coppercliff and our Coppercliff nickel refinery. So those are our surface operations. We have one of the world's largest integrated mining complexes. So Creighton Mine, just an interesting fact is Creighton Mine is the deepest nickel mine in Canada. Creighton Mine is the mine here in Lively, and also has the world's deepest underground physics laboratory called the Snow Lab. And I can't recall the date, but we had Stephen Hawking's, if anybody's familiar with Stephen Hawking's, he traveled underground at Creighton Mine many years ago now, but it was a pretty neat experience. We also have Port Colborne, a refinery out there that makes and distributes finished nickel products and processes precious metals. Port Colborne is situated around the Ottawa, Ontario area. And we have our Toronto headquarters for Vale Base Metals business, which is also home to various corporate functions, and our technology and innovation development office. Our Newfoundland and Labrador operations, in Voisey's Bay, we have a fly-in, fly-out operation there. Long Harbor is a state-of-the-art facility that uses a trademarked hydrometallurgical process. And then we have St. John's that supports operations in both Voisey's Bay and Long Harbor. So this information is to give you just an idea of how big our scope is, even just in Canada. So Manitoba operations, we have a T3 mine, and so we have 2 operating nickel mines out there. So what's next for you? The group that we're speaking with tonight is grade 12, and so you know, I can fondly remember many years ago when I was going through this in my grade, I'd say 10 and into my grade up until grade 12, and doing some career planning and considering what does the market have out there that will see me be employed by the time I'm done school. And so I was on my own journey once upon a time. And once I finished my university, I was going to be a teacher, and I decided to change career paths, and I stumbled upon an HR program, and I'm happy that I did. It has provided me with a lot of great opportunity. I've been working now for Vale for 10 years, but prior to that, I worked in various administrative roles in public sector. It gave me a lot of broad experience, and I think sometimes you go into post-secondary education with a goal in mind, and you know, you have to kind of see what that goal does for you, if you have passion behind what you're doing, what you're studying, and to understand what the market is going to offer, because we all want to be employed to be able to live the life we want to live. So options after high school. These are some of the key elements that for me in preparing for this presentation, this discussion with you, are the things that came to mind. So what are some of the most common options and steps after high school? So you can go, you know, a 3 or 4 years at college or university. You can be in education and learning for the rest of your life, really, in PhDs and masters and all that stuff. It all depends on what you want to do and what your passion is. You can also go to college, which oftentimes is a 2 to 3 year college diploma. There are some programs that are 1 year college programs. And then there's a trade and certificate programs that I'm going to talk to you about. And you can also go directly into work, which is also a great option. So as I said, I think some very critical questions for you all to ask yourselves is who are you? What are your opportunities? What do you want to become? And what is your plan for achieving those goals? And I'm glad I participated at the beginning of this presentation, because it was good context to help me understand kind of where you are in your journey of these, asking yourself these questions. And it sounds like you've all got some work to do to think about that afterwards, which is very exciting. So I'm here to talk to you about considering a career in mining. And I say mining, but mining is much more than underground mining. It's surface operations. It's working in the technical groups. It's sometimes in administrative functions and environmental, all kinds of areas. But I'm going to talk to you about the main opportunities that I can speak to around our workforce demand that we know of today and the shortage, the labor shortage. So the opportunities at Vale that we see a lot of opportunities for right now, just here in Sudbury even, are in production miners, electrician, heavy duty equipment technicians, those are HDTs, millwrights, engineering roles, and leadership roles. So supervisors, superintendent, even managers. At some point throughout your career, you can find yourself progressing from a production miner and over time in a supervisory role. And if leadership is what drives you, there are those paths available for you at Vale. So in terms of labor market demand, just here locally in Sudbury, I can share that we are expanding our Coppercliff Mine complex and reopening up south side. So if you're traveling from Lively, from that highway across into Coppercliff, it would be, once you drive over that bridge past the nickel refinery, on your right-hand side, it's that complex there that is Coppercliff Mine South Side. So located within Coppercliff, we are planning and working on hiring up to 300 people for this mine site. And we've already started doing the work towards that in May of 2020 and continuing into staffing those roles into July 2021. In addition to this, divisionally across our North Atlantic operations, so as I mentioned, Manitoba, UK, Japan, Long Harbour, Voisey's Bay, and Sudbury, we have projected over the next 1 to 3 years attrition in the form of retirements of approximately 800 people in various roles. The bulk of them being in these roles here that I'm talking about, the trades, engineers, frontline workers like production miners and surface operators. So, there's a lot of great opportunity there for employment, as well as, I'll go into the next slide, which is around, you want a job that's gonna make you a good and decent living. And so prepared a few slides here about some of these roles and what the minimum education is and any specialized training that we might be looking for, experience and the earning potential. So as a production miner, all you need in terms of minimum education is your grade 12 level or GED equivalency. Okay, so you need to have completed your post-secondary education. And you also need 4 Common Core modules and 2 or more years of industrial experience. And so there's something that Vale is doing differently today because of our labor market need. And it has to do with, if you have the industrial experience, we will train you with the Common Core. So it is important that if you are interested in something like this, gaining experience in the industrial setting will be helpful for you in your resume building in your application. And I speak about industrial setting primarily because it's about being exposed to a hazardous environment and having that awareness of safety and harsh conditions. And so I do work with Sagamok and other Indigenous communities, and I also try to look at different types of experience in the context. So industrial experience, you might think it's always in a shop. It's working maybe among trucks or big heavy duty equipment. But there's other ways that we can look at that as well. For example, working in forestry, hunting, and fishing. Those are areas in which, you know, you always have to be aware of your surroundings. Safety is important. Taking care of one another, working together. Those are all the critical elements of what we're looking for in an employee to be able to be successful in a role like a production miner. So just to give you an idea in terms of what kind of earnings you can have in a role like this, and this position here varies a little bit, but on average, as a starting point, you can earn $75,000 annually. So that's $35.69 per hour. And these rates vary, but not by a whole lot, depending on posting and job assignment. There's also variable compensation, variable pay that is included in that. So you have eligibility and opportunity to work overtime, which increases your annual income. And then we have, if you've ever heard of it, it's called a head frame incentive. So it's a bonus. It's a bonus system that we have here at Vale that, you know, it's very lucrative, and you know, a lot of people enjoy receiving this bonus, and it's helped fulfill a lot of you know, people's lives and the things that they want to acquire in life. So just think about that in terms of opportunities for you. Other items are pension and benefits. I also, you know, we are local, even if you are, if you live in Massey or Espanola, I can tell you that we have a number of people across our operations, whether it's Coleman Mine, Creighton Mine, Garson, that travel from Espanola and Elliott Lake, and they build networks and amongst themselves for carpooling, or they rent apartments because we have a good and flexible work schedules around 5 days off, 4 days on, and vice versa. So there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of opportunity in that, in working at Vale. Next positions I'll talk about are the trades. So electrician, you know, you need your grade 12 to get into the post-secondary education programs, but you know, it's a trade certification, most likely through Cambrian College, maybe Collège Boreal, or you know, if you're going out to North Bay, depending on where you get in. And then we have apprenticeship programs. So right now, in this slide here, I'm specifically and only talking about a full tradesperson, but Vale does have apprentice programs where we take on apprentices, and you don't need 4 years of experience. This is only for a tradesperson. And similarly to the underground miner, you can earn, you know, $80,000 a year at a minimum as a starting wage. With, of course, eligibility for overtime opportunities. And if you're working at a mine, you also can earn some bonus and incentive. And of course, we have a very good pension and benefits plan that, you know, when you're long-term planning, those things might not seem interesting or important to you now, but you know, the older you get, and as you grow a family, those things do they come into play in future planning for yourself and your retirement. The next one is the millwright, industrial mechanic. So same information really as the electrician in terms of the opportunity or the minimum education and the specialized training. So it's post-secondary college type of a training. And again, 4 years if you're coming in as a full tradesperson, Red Seal, but we do accept and bring on many apprentices, and you don't need that 4 years of experience. Same earning potential there as well. And then the other one that we'll talk about is the heavy duty equipment technician. I heard Jeff Moulton talking about you know, heavy equipment operators, heavy equipment technicians. So I think you know, we are seeing a lot of baby boomers now reaching the age of retirement or reaching the 30 years service in our organization. And that has a lot to do with the workforce demand right now, and why all these opportunities exist, and why it's so exciting to be in your shoes today, to be planning for your future. I can remember 10 years ago, early in my career, and you know, working, I was doing a co-op doing a bit of a skills shortage assessment. And we were predicting back then that the trades and labor type of work, we were going to be experiencing a shortage because of the baby boomers. And we are reaching that point where everybody's looking at retirement and looking at the next stage in their life, which opens up so much opportunities for the youth of today. So what are we looking for in the mining industry? We look for people who are safety conscious and respectful of each other, enjoy a flexible work schedule. So, I would say in most cases, it's not a Monday to Friday job, and it's a rotation of days off and on and working nights and day shift. But, it's a very flexible and a work schedule that provides you with a lot of time off. We're looking for somebody and people who are willing to work as a team member, committed and take pride in their work, and eager to learn on the job and share their knowledge with others. A lot of the work that you're going to do at Vale is learning on the job and being trained on the job. So, the best thing that we look for is behaviors, and you're being conscious of safety and risks, and being respectful and working together collaboratively. The mining sector offers a great variety of interesting career opportunities, and I hope that I've sparked some interest in today's session. And that's pretty much all I have for you. And I'm open to any questions. If I don't have the answer for you tonight, I will certainly look and see if I can get it for you. And if you need some time to think about this and you walk away and you have some questions, please also feel free. I'll share my information with Mark. I work closely with Andrea, and I'm available to connect with students and to discuss these opportunities in the future. Thank you. If we have any questions, I'm happy to take some.
Thanks, Megan. Josephine or Keith, did you guys have any questions?
I don't have anything.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you said you wanted to go into teaching, what grade did you want to teach? Were you like secondary state, post-secondary, secondary, or elementary?
Oh, that's a great question. So I was majoring in English. So I got my Bachelor of Arts in English, and I wanted to teach high school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. This is a personal question.
Okay.
I actually have a question.
Yeah, one
Sure.
more here.
You were talking about the 800 people in terms of retirement rate. Like how far is that away?
So it's not obviously 800 in one shot, and as an organization, we're always continuing to adjust our needs. So with every person that exits our organization, we always go back to the drawing board and say, is this role necessary? Because one of our biggest costs is workforce. So it's I want to say on average around 800 over the next 3 to 4 years. So. Yeah, so now up until the next 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just for the apprenticeships, what's the process for a grade 12 student applying to an apprenticeship with you guys?
Yeah, so they have to be enrolled, or they have to have graduated from the program, and I don't know the program in great detail, Mark, but I'm going to just make a note here about getting more information to you so that you can provide that to the students when they're considering career options. So once upon a time, we had relationships with Cambrian College, where we would take on a certain number of co-ops. So it starts with a co-op, and then it turns into an apprenticeship. So co-op means we would take you out of the program during the summer months and provide you with skills and development and work experience. Then you would go back to school for the year and then come back and then go back. And then when you were done your program, we had agreements with Cambrian College that we would always prioritize students from that program and the students that did co-ops with us for apprenticeship opportunities at Valley. And so then we would hire on an apprentice if we needed a tradesperson based on our workforce needs. If we were able to take somebody in a learning role versus a full trades apprentice, it always would depend. But we recognize there's a need to provide learning opportunities for new people coming into the sector. And so we would hire an apprentice and then put them through our internal apprenticeship program, which is at about, it's about a 4-year type of apprenticeship program that we do. And our people internally sign off at each level.
Gotcha. Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.
So I think that's it for questions. Nobody put any questions in the chat. So thanks again for joining us. And yeah, if any students have any questions for Megan, feel free to email myself, or maybe I'll send an email to all the participants with the contact information for presenters today.
Yeah, perfect. And Mark, I'm also going to share my slide deck with you by email, as
Perfect.
well as all these job postings that I was just talking about, because again, I think it could be useful with career planning for the students to see it tangibly in front of them and kind of think about it. So I'll share that with you by email. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks. And I'll share that with the students tomorrow.
Great.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Next, we have Andrea, who's going to share some stuff about the ISETS program. And go ahead whenever you're ready, Andrea.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out how to share my screen.
Got it.
Good? Yeah. Okay. So thanks, Megan. And I just, so you know, that I saw a couple of comments there in the chat. Ethan says, very well done. I think that was a little earlier on. And Sashiana says, thank you. So I just wanted, before I start, what I'm going to talk about is a little bit about some of our programs to help support the things that you will be doing over the next few years. But I quickly wanted to make mention of a couple things that came up through some of the other presentations. So I know when Jeff was talking about some of the things that are happening in SAGMUC and what's coming up over the next couple of years. So in terms of some of the challenges for hiring, so he did make mention of, social work, mental health, and addictions fields. And just to follow that, there is a plan within SAGMUC to build a treatment center. So there's going to be even more need for that, because it won't be just our own community that we're servicing, but it'll be taking people from elsewhere as well to help support some of those treatment related supports within that kind of a business here in SAGMUC, or sorry, a service. So that's something to keep in mind. And I know in terms of social work and mental health, social work and social services worker type roles, one of the things that I see a lot of is, over the last 5 years, SAGMUC partnered with other First Nations along the North Shore, and they went through a process of transforming child welfare. And from that, we got an organization called Nagda-Windamin, which is Child and Family Services. So it's taking what would have been under the Child and Family Services Act and kind of running it ourselves with more of a cultural appropriate services. So there's a lot of opportunities through there as well for things like family support workers and all of that kind of work. So that's something to keep in mind. As well was mentioned trades, plumbing and electrical. And I know just working with some of the contractors in the community, plumbing, electrical, HVAC are in definite need here in the community. And sometimes, when we have housing construction, it gets delayed because, the electrician can't come in. So they can't move forward with continuing the build until the electrician can come in or until the plumber can come in. So it's pretty high demand. not just here in Sagmok, but within the entire region. So I think Mark mentioned earlier, it's Len who comes in to Sagmok, and he's coming all the way from Blind River, but he services even, you know, in the other direction. So definitely some opportunity there. And then another one is IT and technology. And that's something that you can do from home, right? Which is really good. You won't have to travel. Those are definitely, you know, tech fields, apps, gaming, graphic design, all of that kind of stuff is definitely up and coming. Not just up and coming, actually, it's here. And definitely fields with a high demand. There's a company in Sault Ste. Marie that does training for that kind of stuff. So they actually test apps. The company is called Plato. They do app testing. So they look for bugs in apps, and they train people to do this, and they take on contracts from all over the place. And they're actually located in Sault Ste. Marie, so it's not too far from home. And then also in the next couple of years, so I mentioned the treatment center being built, and next year we'll be building a brand new school. So there's definitely going to be some need for carpentry, construction, labor, that kind of work, skilled trades. And while you may not be ready, if you're just starting out now, you certainly would be for any kind of labor or entry level work. So I just wanted to mention some of that, just to tie together some of the other stuff that was mentioned already. But what I want to talk about is a little bit about our programs and how they can support you as a student as you're moving forward. So we have quite a number of programs. Oh no, it's not. Sorry, it's not changing my slide. I don't know how to do this. Just give me a sec. Sorry, I knew something like this was going to happen.
No problem. We're waiting.
Are you using 2 monitors too, Andrea?
Yeah, I
Okay.
am.
You gotta disconnect the one monitor.
Okay, let me see if I can figure that out. So I think I'm just gonna take my laptop out of the dock and see if that's gonna work. Oh, that means my mouse doesn't work here. I'm wondering what happened to my mouse. Quite a bit of different things. We do some one-on-one as well as group-based career and employment coaching. We do assessments. Some of you have completed assessments over the last week or even last year, if you would have attended any of our sessions last year. So we provide some of that service. We do referrals to employers or to training programs and things like that. We also help you access other government related programs, government funding and employment related programs as needed. So, you know, we've helped people access things like apprenticeship grants for tools, other Employment Ontario funding, second career, things like that. We also have because of COVID, we're by appointment only, but we do still have our computers and our small computer lab here where we have phone and fax available for people. And we've put our job board online on Facebook, so that's available as well. And then we coordinate community-based training. And that's actually what you see in some of the photos. That some of those photos are forest fire training that we brought in a couple of years back. One of the things that's coming up that was mentioned is our Intro to Trades program, which is our partnership with Cambridge College to bring the trades trailers in. That was supposed to happen last April, and it was right at the beginning of when COVID hit, so we had to postpone. We are still looking to run the program, and it'll be running, fingers crossed, it will be running in February. We will have to decrease the number of participants that we can accommodate in the trailers, but the plan is still to move ahead. We hope. So if the second wave can slow down a little bit, then we should be good to move forward. So I want to talk a little bit about our skill enhancement. So we have a couple of different programs. We have training programs. Those include purchasing or paying tuition for you to take certified training. And then we've also got wage subsidies to help you train on the job. So depending on what you plan on doing once you graduate from high school or once you're done with any of the upgrading that you're working on now. There is post-secondary options, and I know Lorna and Lorianne will talk more to you about applying for post-secondary, which is what they're going to talk about next week. But should you decide that you're not ready to apply for post-secondary maybe just yet, then we can also support other learning opportunities. So we have programs that can help pay for you to get pre-employment certificates, things like first aid, smart serve, working at heights, any of those small pre-employment certificates that are needed for, you know, all kinds of different industries. We can also pay for occupational specific certificates, anything that's less than a year or less. Personal support workers, an example, food services worker. Cambridge has a carpentry renovation techniques program. Those are all one-year programs. They're certificate programs, and we can help support some of those kinds of things. We also help support apprenticeships. So to pay for your classroom modular training, we cover some of those costs. We provide allowances while you're doing that. We also cover costs for Red Seal exam certification and for your apprenticeship registration. We also will cover costs for any kind of professional designation. So maybe you're going to be graduating from a program, say you take an EC program as an example, early childhood education. Once you graduate, you still have to register with the Ontario College of Early Childhood Educators to get that professional designation so that you're able to work at a early learning center in Ontario. We can help cover the cost of your registration with those things. So that's part of the research that you'll be doing next week, is looking at not just what program you need to be taking for what your plan is, but any other things that you're going to need in order to work in that field. So we can assist with some of those costs, and then any kind of professional licenses. So AZ, DZ licenses and that kind of stuff. Those are examples of some of the things that we can help assist with under that. So as I mentioned, the other part of our training programs is wage subsidies or on-the-job training. So generally this would be once you've graduated from, post-secondary or trade school or whatever it is, and you need to gain work experience. So a lot of times people will say, so now I have my diploma, but employers are looking for somebody with a year of experience, and I've never even worked in it. I just graduated. So this is a program to help get your foot in the door, to help you gain that work experience that's needed from an employer so that you qualify for employment with them. That's one. And then we have some that are specific to youth. So our youth specific wage subsidies, we've got a career exploration program. So this is generally for young people who haven't yet made their career decision. And, I know Megan mentioned that she had made a change. She thought she was going to go in a certain direction and then had changed her mind. I had the same experience for years. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. It wasn't until I took co-op that I was like, no freaking way can I be a lawyer. And here I was gearing up for it. It was grade 11, grade 12 that I took my co-op, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? So programs like this are intended to help you make some of those decisions. So maybe you know that you want to work in a healthy profession. I know I want to help people, I just don't know how. So I think I want to maybe work with teaching, helping people learn. So I'm going to go and do career exploration at the daycare. But I also think I might want to work with people in terms of supporting youth. So I'm then going to do a career exploration to work as with a youth worker to shadow them for 12 weeks and assist in that program. And then that can help you make some of the decisions that you need to make for what you're going to take in school. It's an option that's there for you. And then we also have mentored work program that can assist you. It's a little bit more directly mentored into a specific career. So again, it's for young people who are prepared to get into a certain career and want to be mentored into it. We can do that for 6 to 12 months. Those are some of our training programs. And then Another one is our job creation partnership. This is a different program. You have to be on EI for this program. But what it does is, you know, a lot of times people have an idea of what they want to do, but maybe the employer can't afford to take you. So I would like to gain experience with, you know, how to run a program through the Red Cross, you know, something like that. I've always wanted to work for, you know, a specific charity. This allows you to be able to do that. And we cover the cost. So we're able to allow you to continue to access your EI while you're doing something that benefits the community or working for a charity or something like that. So that's another program that we have. We also have our summer student program. So if you are going to be going off to college, university next year, or trade school, or whatever it's going to be, then you would qualify for this summer student program. Many of you probably have already been summer students. And generally it's, you know, to help high school students get early work experience during the summer and to help post-secondary students get career-related work experience, preferably. But this is a great opportunity for you to work with an employer to get experience that you're interested in. So a lot of people will just wait until they see jobs posted. But with our program, one of the great things you can do is work with an employer to say, I'm interested in working for you this summer. Can we create an opportunity for me to do that? And I can, you know, you can access some of our funding in order to help pay you to work with an employer of your choice. So Arnelda mentioned earlier the self-employment assistance program. So this is a program that we offer, and it really relies closely on partnership with our economic development officer. So this is once you've completed your business plan, your business has been assessed, and you've applied for business financing, and you've been granted your loan or your grants or whatever it is, and your business activity begins, then we can start assisting with an allowance. And this piece is good because, you know, during the first year of your startup, generally you don't have a lot of money. And I know some entrepreneurs who've said, you know, it was a matter of pay the bill or pay myself, and I had to pay the bill. So, you know, I was stuck with no paycheck for that week, or, you know, whatever it was. You never know what's going to happen during your first year of startup. So this kind of helps ease that a little bit and provides you with a little bit of income during that time so that you can at least plan to make sure your own bills are paid, your personal bills are paid while you're starting your business. You rely a little bit less on your business profits, which helps you pay off some of that loan a little bit better. So we also have some employment programs. So if you plan on going straight to work after you're done school, then we do have an employment support program. So for this, we provide up to $500 once you secure full-time employment. And it just helps you with things like getting work boots, you know, maybe you need clothes or you need gas or you need food for the week until you get paid your first paycheck. It's not a lot, it's $500, but it's more than nothing for sure. And, you know, sometimes that's all you need is a little bit of gear to be able to say, yeah, I'll start next Monday. So that's what that program supports. This one is, it's not a new program, but it's one of our more underutilized programs, along with that self-employment assistance program. So this one here is similar to our employment support, but it's for when you find full-time employment where you actually have to move away for that job. So maybe you find a job in, you know, Thunder Bay, they've offered you full-time employment, you'd love to take it, but you can't move. Well, this program that we have helps to support you with being able to relocate so that you can accept that full-time employment. So we cover a little bit of a transportation allowance and an accommodations assistance up to $1,000. And then you partner that with the employment support of $500. And it makes it a little bit more easier for you to be able to accept that employment and move away. And for some people, that's what they want to do. You know, I want to get out, I want to experience something different somewhere else. I'm going to look for work. And here's a means to be able to do that. And then finally, we have a employment maintenance program, and this is for when you are already employed full-time. So generally, we don't support people who are already employed full-time, but we do have this program, which is like an emergency kind of program. You know, something happened, my car broke down, you know, my boss said I got to get to work tomorrow, or they're going to have to replace me. You know, we can pay for your taxis for the week until your car gets fixed, until you get the money to pay for your car to get fixed or whatever it is. But generally, it's something that's an emergency. It's unforeseen. You know, my babysitter quit. I've got somebody else lined up, but you know, they want whatever, a little bit more than what I paid my last babysitter. So until I can figure something out, I just need a little bit of support for that difference to pay the babysitter for the week, you know, whatever it is. But it's our employment maintenance program. So our youth programs, this would be more specific to all you folks there. The career exploration I talked about already, that's trying out the career to help you make a decision. We also have a community service program. So some of you might need to probably at this point get some of your community service hours. I know this year, because of COVID, I think they've chopped it down in half. I think, is it 20 hours instead of 40 this year that you need to graduating this year? 20, yeah. Good. So some of you might luck out. You only need to do 20 hours. So what we pay for, what this program does is it helps pay for maybe travel. You're going to do your community service, but it's in, you know, Espanola at the rec complex, you know, something like that. And you need to be able to pay to get there and back for your community service. Maybe you have children and you need someone to watch them while you do your community service. Maybe you need safety boots and, you know, work vest in order to do your community service, whatever it might be. We can help support some of those costs so that you can complete your community service. And this is community service both for school, those community service hours that you need, or it could be, you know, the courts mandated you to do some community service hours, and you want to be able to get a valuable experience out of it, then we can help with those supports. What we don't pay is wages or allowance. So we're not paying you to do the community service. We're just helping support you to be able to complete it. We also have the co-op elective credit program. So it's very similar to the community service program. We can cover costs for you to get to and from your co-op program if needed, if you need safety equipment, things like that, in order to take your co-op. And just a side note, if you haven't taken co-op, I highly, highly suggest that you do. Again, I was almost going to go to law school, and all it took was for me to do co-op and work for a lawyer and realize that that was not at all what I thought being a lawyer was going to be like. And it saved me who knows how many years of studies and money thinking that I wanted to be a lawyer. Take co-op. I still can't believe that it's not a mandatory program. But you know, if you get the opportunity, definitely highly suggested. Yeah, and so any of our programs, some of the things that we cover throughout them: tuitions, allowances, you know, childcare if it's needed, accommodations if you need to stay somewhere, or, you know, paying your rent while you're taking your program. So different supports are available under different programs. We can pay for transportation, travel, books and supplies and equipment and things like that. Those are some of the examples of some of the things. Again, not everything is eligible under every program, but you know, whatever it is you're planning on doing, we can work with you to see what we can help with. Yeah, and then that's just our staff. So we are open. We're by appointment only. So if you do want to come in and use the computers, you got to make an appointment, and that's just to make sure that we can maintain social distancing within the office. We've had a couple people pop in where there's people been at the computer, so we've had to turn them away because we just have a very small space here. But we're all available at 9 to 4:30 every day. So if there's any questions, then feel free to shoot and let me know. Miigwech.
Any questions over here?
No.
Josephine?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. So again, thanks to everybody that participated here today. Just remember for next Tuesday, we're gonna have, I guess, the next step of our student support network for secondary students. So next Tuesday, you're gonna be doing the career action plan with Lorianne and Lorna. And again, they're the post-secondary workers. So basically, you could ask them questions about applications for post-secondary, things that are covered under Sagamuk's post-secondary fund and stuff like that. So again, that's going to be next Tuesday. Lorianne will be sending you guys a Zoom meeting link for that. And again, thanks for all the participants today, all the presenters. We appreciate your time, and we'll send all the students the contact info for everybody that presented today. And for those of your peers that did miss this, we're going to be posting this somewhere. I'm not sure where yet. We're going to discuss that, and I will send you guys an email with the information on how to find this video for your peers that might have missed it. Okay. Again, thanks everybody, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.